How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. I know I'm feeling a little bit better after what's been a difficult couple of weeks, but yeah, you just have to keep going, don't you? Keep moving on. This is the first video in the series that I was talking about in my last video. It's going to be a series basically all about what I think are the basics and the fundamentals that everybody needs if they are going to reach their goals in life. Now, your goals might be something that's just personal to you, some things you want to achieve, maybe like a bit of a bucket list type thing. It might be financial goals, maybe there's a target you're aiming for, whether that's to just have financial stability or financial freedom or to be, really wealthy, multi-millionaire, whatever it is, or whether that's just to progress in your career or even to just develop yourself as a person, because that is one thing that's very important in life is developing you and yourself and your skill set as a person. So this is the first episode. There's probably going to be about 10 episodes, 10 different focuses, but this one I feel is one of the biggest ones that holds people back. I know it held me back in particular before I started with my career and running my own business, but it can also hold you back in other aspects of life. So this episode is all about fear, or the fear. Now, fear for me, if you let it, can and will control your life in every aspect of it. When I'm talking about fear, I'm not talking about being scared of spiders and snakes or heights or whatever else, although they could have a lasting effect on your life. Maybe something I'll touch on in another video, but not for today. This is the fear of the what ifs, the maybes, the what could go wrong. Excuse me. It's for me, when I stepped out of my comfort zone and I left the job that I'd been in for quite a long time, working for somebody that I knew quite well, so I was very comfortable with him. We were friends more than anything else. Leaving that comfort zone for me took a lot, and there was a lot of things that I was worried about. So if you're one of those people that does want to start your own business, I understand where you're coming from. You're thinking to yourself, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to afford to live? If something goes wrong on a job or maybe with a product you're selling or whatever else, the responsibility is on you and you alone. Then there's not really anyone to turn to. And all those things can be scary things, particularly the financial things, especially if you've got kids or a house or whatever else. But the problem is if you let these fears control you, the what ifs and maybes, you'll never find out and you'll never try and you'll never progress with your life. So as scary as all these things are, you've just got to, you've got to face them head on. I remember when I settled by myself initially, I had 2 weeks worth of work lined up, and that was it. I used my last wage to go out and buy all the power tools and stuff that I needed, and I was working out the back of my car. But I did what I had to do. No excuses. No, oh, I'll wait till I get a van. I'll wait till this and all the rest of it. Just got on with it. And I remember at the end of that 2 weeks, I had no more work lined up whatsoever, and I hadn't made enough to pay my bills and cover the basic necessities. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do here? And I was worried. I was really worried. But over the course of that weekend, after I'd finished all the work I had lined up, my phone just did not stop ringing. And since then, I've never looked back. Like, never looked back, not for a second. And, I'm coming up to my third full year doing this now. I've got an apprentice starting with me this month. I've got another lad that worked for me practically full time since I started by myself almost. I've got an office, I've got a van, and I'm looking to grow my business. And I wouldn't have any of this stuff if I just didn't take that initial leap of faith and get over that fear. I spoke to quite a few people about it before I actually made that step. And I found the more people I spoke to, the more I was talking myself out of it. And a lot of other people were saying, oh, are you sure? And what about money and everything else? And you do end up talking yourself out of it and just giving yourself excuses. I think with anything like this, you've just got to go for it. And yeah, do you know what? It might not come off for you. It might not work. You might decide that working for yourself isn't for you. Um, but if that's the case, worst case scenario, you go back to where you were before. What have you got to lose realistically? If you don't do it, if you don't try, then you'll never know if you would have succeeded and all the things you would have had. I never thought for a second that I'd be in the position that I'm in now. If you'd have told me 3 years ago that I'd be in the position I'm in now, I wouldn't have believed you. And not like I'm filthy rich or anything like that, because I'm definitely not, and it's not easy either. It's really hard, but it's definitely the best thing that I've ever done for myself, definitely. And for my family too, in many ways. I can pick and choose when to go and work if I need to stay off and, be there for a school play or whatever else, other important times. I've got that flexibility. Now, as I was saying, it might not just be a fear about your career path. It could be something as simple as speaking to that girl or that guy that you really like. And again, it's the same sort of thinking. What have you got to lose realistically? They say no, and that's it. It's not the be all and end all, is it? You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. Move on, try again another time. And I think another one of those things for me is because recently I've started picking up different hobbies and stuff. A lot of hobbies from when I was younger, and it's almost like more like an anxiety to get started in them again. You have this fear of doing something, maybe it's something you've not done before, but you've really liked the thought of doing, and you wanted to pick up a new hobby. Maybe you're quite a quiet person, but you've always wanted to do, like, I don't know, MMA or boxing or something like that, and you're thinking about doing that for the first time. Just go out and do it. Don't worry about looking like a fool or whatever else, because everybody's got to start somewhere. And like I say, it can literally change your life just doing one thing that you've been worried about. We overthink things so much, and then realistically, when we do them, even if they don't turn out the way that we wanted them to, they're still nowhere near as bad as we made out in our heads that they could be. So my advice to anyone that is struggling with the fear of going for a new job, setting up their own business, starting a new hobby, anything like that, just push yourself that little bit to do it. All the best things in life are on the other side of fear. You have to push through that boundary in order to get to those things. And it is difficult, but the sooner you do it, the better you will feel, I promise. If you're someone that's maybe thinking to yourself, well, I don't know where to start or whatever else, speak to other people, speak to me, message me. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a life coach. I can't change your whole life for you or whatever else. But I have experienced things. I am lucky that I've got certain people around me that guide me and help me through these processes too. And I'm more than happy to pass on the knowledge that I'm getting from both experience and from these other people as well. Like I say, I'm still doing these videos mainly for myself to remind myself how far I've come. But if along the way I can help 1, 2 people, whatever else, that's a success for me. So I've just realised, for whatever reason, my GoPro decided not to record the last 30 seconds or so of that video, which was basically just me saying, whatever you do, please just face your fears, just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? That is pretty much it for this episode. I will be continuing with this series. Hopefully I'll have another video within the next couple of days. In the meantime, take care and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.